Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat. Today we will be discussing something important, not just for the CMA exam, CPA exam, or accounting, but for real life. How organization builds an ethical environment. So ethics always start at the top because leadership, the ethical culture, and the mission of the company should all interconnect. But the beginning start, the foundation starts at the top. Every organization develop a culture, but that culture doesn't happen by accident. It happened by production. Production means it happens on purpose. It begins with leadership. Who's in charge of the company? The board of directors, the CEO, the audit committee, senior management. And they set certain expectation to whom? To the employees. And the employees will observe the leadership behavior and often mirror that. So ethical policies means nothing if leadership does not follow them. So if you have the best ethical policies, but leadership is not following what they're claiming to follow, then it sends the wrong message. It doesn't matter what's on the paper. The ethics have to be a living, breathing document, not just a paper that we file every year, or we talk about every year, or we give training about it every year. Think of it this way. If leadership cuts corners, employee will justify cutting corners. They will follow their leaders. There's something called the rule of 10, 80, 10. And basically 10% of the people, they're always ethical. It doesn't matter. They don't need supervision. And 10% of the people, they're always unethical. And there's 80% of the people follow the leadership in the 10%. So if you have a 10% leadership that's ethical, the 80% would follow. If you have leadership from this 10% that are unethical, the 80% would follow. Therefore, leadership is important. So if leadership acts with integrity, that standard spreads across the organization. And that's what matters. So in this session, we'll dive deeper into the relationship between, once again, ethical culture, leadership, and mission. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com. Accounting doesn't have to feel confusing or overwhelming. Most students, CPA and CMA candidates, struggle not because accounting is too hard, but because it's taught fast, skip steps, and assume certain knowledge you should already know. Everything starts to feel disconnected. At Farhat Lectures, we break accounting down into baby steps. We explain the why, the logic behind each concept, and how everything's connected so it finally makes sense. When the fundamentals click, accounting becomes clear and manageable. You stop memorizing rules and start truly understanding accounting. Ready for accounting to make sense? Start your free trial at farhatlectures.com. Now, ethics by itself or leadership by itself is not enough. What we need is a system. We need a culture. So ethical culture becomes stronger when organization formalize it through a system and review, oversight. So what could be some examples of a structure? Well, we could have, for example, an ethics committee. Review ethical issues and policies. People work together to review what's going on ethically with the company. It's a committee. We could have ethical officer. If an individual that work for us, they have an ethical issue, they don't know what to do, they can go to that officer. Ombudsman. It's basically a third party confidential reporting channel when someone have a question and they're not comfortable going to HR. They're not comfortable discussing this internally. Well, you give them this third party. And we have the audit committee that provide governance and oversight for all. So these mechanisms put together ensure that ethics is monitored, enforced, and continuously improved. Now also, ethics plays a unifying force and alignment. It brings people together, which is good for the company. So align employees across the department. This is what they have in common. That's what they share. It creates a shared understanding of acceptable behavior, which is what's that acceptable behavior? Ethical behavior. It becomes especially critical, this point of alignment, when you have a merger or acquisition between two different companies. Remember, when two companies merge, they might have different culture. So a strong ethical frameworks help unify. So if they both have good ethics, that's a good starting point. That's something that they can work on together. Imagine two companies with completely different cultural merging. Without a shared ethical framework, chaos would occur. So ethics becomes the common language across the whole organization, and this is how you unify it. Accountability through reporting. So we want to have transparency. Ethics is not just an internal thing, it must be visible. They must also demonstrate ethical responsibility. Like what? For example, regulation requires disclosure of ethical practices. Management must report ethical compliance to the board. Why? Because transparency always increases trust with stakeholders. When the people, when the investors, when the creditors, when the public at large see that you are trustworthy, you are transparent, you're showing uh, good ethical practices, that's going to pay off. So ethics is not internal, it must be visible and measurable. Because this is how you build a trust with stakeholders, investors, regulators, the public, the creditors. Now, also, what we need to do is to have a mission statement, basically a direction. So if someone working at the company, we know what we need, where are we heading, what's the direction. So we need a mission or a mission statement. So a mission statement defines why the company exists. What do we do? What it does? And where is it going? Where are we going? It answers two fundamental questions. Who are we as a company? And what business are we in? And what do we intend to do? What do we do? How do we serve? What is our business? So a strong mission statement provides direction and create consistency in decision. This is our goal. To promote AI, to promote the ethical use of AI. Then we go with that. For example, Farhat lectures. What is our mission? Is to help people prepare for their professional certification, to make students more prepared in their higher education. That's our mission, to help you prepare. And this would ally employees toward common goals. So everyone in the company working toward this goal. Whatever you're doing today, does it serve people who are studying for a professional certification to pass their exam? If the answer is yes, great, we're moving in the right direction. Now let's take a look at the key component of a mission statement. So a complete mission statement should include the following component. And I'm going to use Farhat lecture as an example. For example, customers. Who are our customers? Well, our customers are CPA, CMA, EA candidate, accounting students worldwide. What our product or services do we provide? We supplement accounting courses, video lectures, we have MCQs, AI tools, podcast lessons, so on and so forth. Location. We have a global platform. US, the Middle East, India, Canada, and beyond. Technology, AI quiz assistant, AI video chat, so on and so forth. Our economic goal, affordable, scalable education with subscription base. What is our philosophy? Understanding over memorization. Strength and opportunities, deep conceptual teaching, large content library, so on and so forth. AI integration. The public image should be a trusted supplemental provider focusing on student success. In the employee focus, support a driven culture with personalized guidance and continuous improvement. So once we know our mission, this is what we need to do, then we have clear and practical and actionable steps to ensure we are meeting the mission statement. Now for my company, I still don't have a specific mission statement, but I thought about some components. I thought about what are the components that could apply to us, and this is what I showed you as an example. Now also we have what's called the code of ethics. That's the code of ethics is basically the execution of behavior. So if the mission sets the direction, this is where we're going, the code tells us how to behave. How to behave. This is what code of ethics is. So the mission statement is a long-term vision. The code of behavior is a daily behavior rule. For example, we got to reply to students within 24 to 48 hours. That's something that's daily, to their email or their phone calls. Strategic direction is part of the mission statement. Operational guidance is part of the code of ethics. It's like on a regular short-term basis. Broad and aspirational. Code of ethics is specific and enforceable. No cheating, no lying. This is very specific. So the mission provide trustworthy financial services, like basically the strategy. Code of ethics, for example, no misrepresentation of financial data. That's the execution of behavior. So for example, I would not say the course will do X when it can do X. It can only do Y. This is what code of ethics is, specific. The mission statement is, my job is to provide you with the best exam preparation material to help you succeed in your courses and professional certification. That's a mission. But code of ethics, don't misrepresent the material. Ethics goes beyond legal compliance. So ethics is a higher standard because the legal compliance is the minimum. So a key principle of ethics is it must go beyond following the law. The law defines only the minimum, what's minimally acceptable. Ethics define what's right and responsible. It's not only I'm doing what's legal, I'm also doing what's right to me, what's right to the other party as well, and being responsible. So the code of ethics acts as an organization moral compass. What's good and what's not good, what's right and what's not right. Now, part of that code of ethics, employee involvement. Ethics is the strongest when employees participate because at the end of the day, employees are dealing with customers, not the organization. The organization is just a fictional character. The actual people working are the employees. So if the employees believe, if they commit, if they have strong ethical culture, that's great. You have commitment and ownership. So organization should involve employee in developing those policies, encourage feedback and discussion. So this way they feel their opinion is taken into account. Therefore, we have what we call the buy-in mentality. Provide ethics training on regular basis, and that's very important. And this leads to, as I said, buy-in, awareness, better compliance because they are well trained. So when employees participate in those policies, they understand them better. So they are more committed. They can apply them better. They can follow them much better than someone who's not familiar or doesn't fully understand the value of those or did not participate in them. So putting everything together, an ethical organization requires the alignment of three things. Leadership, as I told you, to set the tones at the top. And I would say this is the most important. We have to have a mission, direction, and we have to have code of ethics, how to behave in order to follow the mission and follow the leadership instruction. So when these three align, the organization develop a strong and sustainable ethical culture. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. A company has a strong mission statement. That's good. But frequent ethical violation, what's the most likely issue? So what's the most likely issue? If we have a strong, very valid mission statement. Mission statement is on paper, but we still have ethical violation. What would be the most likely explanation? The mission statement is too detailed. I don't think that will, because it's too detailed, we are committing ethical violation. I doubt it, and that's easy to solve. You could just shorten it if that's the problem. But I don't think that's a solid answer. Let's go to B. The code of ethics is effectively enforced. If it's effectively enforced, we should not have frequent ethical violation. I would definitely take out B. I cannot take out A. A doesn't have a lot of weight to it, but I'm gonna keep A. Leadership behavior is inconsistent with ethical standard. Wow, that's a red flag. Why? Because remember, we need three things. We need leadership, the mission, and the code of ethics. What we're saying here is we have a good mission on paper, the mission statement. But what we are told in C, leadership is inconsistent. We need leadership. Leadership sets the tone. So I'm going to take out A for sure now. I would say between A, B, and C, C is the most reasonable answer because if leadership does not model ethical behavior, violation would repeatedly occur. Because the strong mission is useless. It's on paper. Let's look at the company lacks financial reporting system. Financial reporting system, it's not really relevant to ethical violation. Could be a problem with internal control, which is something we have to fix logistically, but has nothing to do with ethical violation, doing something wrong. D is out. Wrong in a sense, not mathematically wrong, it's morally wrong. Therefore, C is the best answer. If you're using Farhat.ai, you could ask the AI to explain the topic if you'd like, explain the correct and incorrect answer in depth, and the best is to create a similar MCQ to help reinforce what you just took. What should you do now? Whether you're a CMA, CPA, accounting student, the best investment you can make is invest in yourself, invest in your education. Don't shortchange yourself. Go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional resources, and God bless.